Because it's a combination of teaching, being there for 15 years, and I really enjoy the whole, athlete coach relationship. And that includes being in the school with the kids. We did not have any discipline problems with my kids. Our GPA from our seniors is a 3.9. They're solid students. It's just being there that if there is an issue and stay on top of the kids, you're there in the school. So since I retired as teaching, I thought this would be the right time. Also, I felt that Coach Scholl, Matt Scholl, was my assistant coach for 10 years also. And it was time for him also. And he's now the new head coach at Northampton.
What was the transition like from the business world to the education world for you?
That was difficult. It was actually refreshing because I didn't have to travel as much. With my job at NMB Technology, I worked for them for over 25 years. I traveled a lot. It was Thailand, Japan, Singapore. I ran a division up in Connecticut and then in Mexico also. But I took a lot of those things that I learned from the business world into coaching and also teaching. But in the coaching, I felt it was really important to build a good staff. And that's one thing we did at Northampton. Our staff has been really steady throughout my 10 years. Like I said, Matt Scholl has been with me for 10 years. Phil Hall has been with me for 10 years. Brian Davies, my freshman coach, has been there for a while also. Ed Seidig's been there too. Middle school coaches. And I think that stability means a lot. So I carried some of the stuff from the business world over to coaching.
You talked about the first couple of years, though, were a little bit lean. What was the process like from there to where you have the program now?
Yeah, it was difficult regarding changing the culture of the program, and that's used a lot by coaches. The culture wasn't right, but it wasn't right there. It took us 2 years. The third year, we actually made districts, but it wasn't just about the wins and losses. We only won 3 games my first year, 3 games my second year, and then we turned it around a little bit. But it was the culture. All right, we wanted guys. We had a certain way we wanted to play. We probably did not have the best athletes as maybe some of the other schools at that time. Now I feel we're very, very competitive when it comes to the athletes. But during that time, we had to play a system. And we started out, learning to match defense. Fundamentals were really important. Our offenses were not just up and down the court. We can't roll the ball out. We have to be setting screens for each other. We have to be setting staggered screens. We have to be patient on offense. So that culture, those schemes, the kids had to buy into it. And I think the first 2 years, it took a little time. I started seeing that buy-in after the third year.
Everybody talks about Northampton's matchup zone. Is it something you developed or did you borrow from other people?
It was a combination, and mainly Matt Scholl, who was a Whitehall guy, played under Jerry Radoka. And he was tinkering around with it. When he was my freshman coach at Northampton, he was playing around with it. And I went to Matt a little bit and I said, Matt, the matchup zone, how well do you really know it? He goes, I know it pretty well. And I said, I used to coach AAU with Mr. Green, Jimmy Green, and Matt Green played with my son in AAU circuit. And Mr. Green also, Jimmy Green, knew the matchup zone very well. And it was a situation where Jerry Radoka used to come to our AAU practices sometimes, and I used to tinker around with the match. Also, when we played in the AAU games, some of these Philly teams and some of these other teams around the area had no idea what we were doing. Okay, they said, "It's a man." No, it's a match. And I said, "That's really great." When I was at Nazareth, we played against Whitehall a lot, and they were playing the match. And being an assistant coach, I broke down film a lot and trying to come up with a scheme to attack the match. And it was very difficult to attack the match. So I said, Matt, your knowledge, my little bit of knowledge, let's try to put this together here at Northampton. And I think it's been successful.
One of the big individual pieces of your program's turnaround was Aiden Elwood. How much of an impact did he have?
Just huge. And that's when the turnaround started. In my third year, he was a freshman. And we had some other nice players on that team. We had A.Q. McNeil, Garrett Oplinger, Mike Torres, Mario Delker, some of those kids. And Aiden was a freshman, and they brought him along. And he was a big piece at that time. And that was a key. And then all the way through, and then unfortunately he left for 1 year to go to Central Catholic, but he came back to Northampton. So that was the start, I feel, my third year when he was a freshman, where things started to turn around a little bit.
This past season, your final year coaching at Northampton, the best year that they've had in 50 years, since 1972. You get to the state quarterfinals. Right. What was the ride like?
It was amazing. We had a heck of a season. The season was full of buzzer beaters. We had 4 buzzer beaters throughout the season. We had 2 overtime state wins against Northampton and also Warwick. We had also an overtime loss, which was, I feel, even though it was a loss against Polk Mountain West in the district semifinals, was a big changer for us. Why? Because I didn't know how we were going to rebound against Polk Mountain West after that Furman 3-point shot that tied it up. And I said, oh man, this is going to be very difficult. We had to come back in a consolation game against Nazareth, who we beat first time around. The second time around, that's a very, very good team, and playing the consolation game was very difficult sometimes. It's the first game of a Saturday, sometimes like 12 o'clock start, and it's a difficult game to play. And beating Nazareth was really important, got us in the States. And then Northampton, and you guys were there at Service Electric, down at Northampton, and we arrived. We looked at the court at 6 o'clock, and that was one of the biggest wins, I think, in Northampton history, of going to their place, a very, very good team. I think they only have 2 losses, if I remember correctly. They had a kid who was going to go to LaSalle, the center. The place was packed with their student body at 6 o'clock, and I remember them heckling my players. And the game started, and we got down by 10 at halftime. And I just felt that once we got the jitters out, that we were going to be okay. And we turned it around. We beat them in overtime. That was a huge win for Northampton. And then the Warwick win was also, it was down at Springford. And we shot very well. We had a 16-point lead against Warwick. But any team in the state's very difficult to beat. And they came back, tied it up, went to overtime, won that game. And then finally the Fox Chapel game in Chambersburg, which was the Elite 8 game, we were up by 4 with about 55 seconds to, 2 with 55 seconds to go. I thought we had it, but they made some big shots, and unfortunately, we had many close games turn our way. That one did not. We lost by 2 to them, but it was a great, great run.
When you look back over 10 years, what are some of the things that will stick out for you?
I think the turnaround of the program, all the kids that came through the program, just great. Not only athletes, but students too. And it's just great keeping in touch with them and how well they're doing right now. But what's going to stick out is getting to 2 district finals. Unfortunately, we did not win them. We lost to 2 very good teams. The East Stroudsburg South game, they had the Anderson kid who was really, really tough. And that was a good game, but that was the first time we were in there, and that was a big deal, just getting there. And then the second time we were there, I thought we didn't have any jitters. I thought we were ready to play, but we ran across a Freedom team that was really good with those Mims brothers. So that was tough. And so getting there twice, and then the state run, I think we've been very, very successful. And there's always a situation where, coming to Northampton, I just wanted to make sure, the wrestling program was up there, and things like that, that we wanted to be an elite level program. And not only 1 year, not only 2 years, but year after year, or, a couple years go by type of thing, that it's not just, oh, here we go, we got to rebuild, we got to wait 4 more years again, or anything like that. Just to keep that level up here, and that's what we wanted to do, and I think we did that.
What do you think you're going to miss the most?
Oh, no question about it, the kids. The camaraderie with my coaching staff, the camaraderie with the other coaches in the league, and of course the players, like I mentioned before, the kids. It's just everything combined. It's just what's great about coaching. What I'm not going to miss is being 10 months out of the year. It's a full year program, to be successful. There's no question about it. And I'm going to miss November through March, but the other stuff that makes a great program, I'm not going to miss so much.
Well, listen, we appreciate everything you've done for us. You've been a great guy to deal with, a lot of cooperation. Congratulations on a great career, and we wish you the best of luck in retirement.
Thank you very much, Steve, and thank you, Service Electric.